Hello and welcome to DevStream 23, our most intimate dev stream yet for arguably the more intimate tool of the game with our UI team. So welcome to our first stream with you guys. This is awesome. Thanks for coming. Before we get into it, we're going to do 3 pieces of housekeeping. The first is there will be a 24-hour Catalyst post-stream, so if you're looking for that alert, stay around. It'll happen around 3:30. The second is, of course, we're going to do our 3 platinum prizes throughout the stream. And the third is it's a very special day in Canadian athletic moments, and the Canadian versus USA Olympic hockey game is on right now. So I'm sure devs will be hooting and hollering, providing us updates throughout the stream, so we will applause or cry accordingly. So,
as long as you don't put any false scores in the chat there.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes, and without further ado, why don't our UI team members introduce themselves to our viewers?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So my name is Dorian. I'm the UI designer here at DE. Started pretty recently, only about 3 months ago. I was at Activision for 3 years previously, and before that I was working at EA under the sports label, working on quite a few FIFA titles. So that's kind of my background.
Excellent.
And I'm Pablo. I'm being here at DE for 3.5 years now. Just heard some yelling.
So something has happened in the game.
Something happened. Oh. That is the sport report.
Yeah.
The sports update is something happened.
This is gonna be awesome. And as you, so you are the designer and you're the programmer as far as all things UI go. So it's kind of where you guys are coming from with this stream. We got tons of questions. You guys brought amazing assets to show, and I feel like the UI is a really cool thing to show off because it kind of shows the finishing touches or the what the players are going to be doing with the progress of the game. So whether it's the hub Steve teased or any other tools that people want improved on, this is the money pot. So
we're excited.
Yes. So we're going to start off with some community questions. Actually, let's do a platinum prize first, just because something happened in sports and now something will happen on the stream. So here we go. Our first platinum prize to a lucky viewer who's logged into Twitch. Roll the dice, and the winner is, oh, I did not roll it effectively. Here we go. Bones 7056. BONES 7056. You just won 1,000 platinum. Message our Twitch page with your in-game alias, whether it's PSN ID or PC, and Megan will hook you up.
Congrats, Bones.
Congrats, Bones. You done it now. All right. So one of the biggest questions about the UI is from Kalain and many others, and they ask, will we ever have UI customization, such as bar placement, power placement, graphic types, color, and so on?
Well, we've heard this question once or 200 times.
Yes.
Basically, the idea is we do want to do it. We actually started somehow working on it, and you'll see a little bit of the experimentation with it.
Do you want to show that video now or after?
Yeah, yes, let's roll the video.
That's a sports thing. We're going to roll the power play of your customization.
So this should, give you a quick idea of, kind of the kind of structure and organization in terms of, how you'll, I guess, change the scale and position of all the different elements on screen. This is a prototype that Pablo put together. So just kind of showing, we do really hear you a lot, and it's something that we value a lot, and we definitely started working on it. It's just a question of kind of scheduling and resources for us now. So
yeah. So technically, so how does this fit into all things UI? Because
so basically, this would be like the base. So what you just saw is like the technical basis for it. Now the problem is like the HUD has so many things in it. It basically has, all the health, the squad, the damage indicators, all sorts of things. So basically, each one of those now would have to be rewritten into working with this scheme.
Right.
And that's basically the part that's sort of stopping us to go from going forward with this, because the next, the next update has like a lot of UI stuff in it. Mm-hmm. So that's what's kept this just as a technical test so far.
Right, you have to make sure it's even technically, I don't want to say possible, because anything's possible. We have the source code, but I mean.
Yeah. Basically, it not only takes, obviously, the time to, you only saw the minimap and the level up notification are the 2 that I did so far. Obviously, we'd have to reprogram everything else in the HUD to work with this scheme.
Yeah, and TC Cookie in chat just said, will PS4 players, like that will never work for PS4 because obviously it's a drag approach. So that has to factor in.
We can make it work.
Yeah, so yeah, the idea is you would do it with the two thumbs, one to scale, one to move. So we did have PS4 in mind for how this would work for them.
Of course.
I mean, one of the things that really excites us as well as giving the players what they want is being one of the first and only games on PS4 that actually allows that level of customization, right. That allows that level of letting players really get the experience that they want out of the game, and that's one of the big motivators for us, other than obviously making sure that everyone has the kind of UI that is most effective for them. So
absolutely. So provided this kind of technically works and you have the time and resources to do it, this could be something coming, could be not, or we'll have to see.
Basically, we are looking into it. It's not the immediate next step for us.
Right.
We still have quite a few things that we need, like that have higher priority right now for us. But once those are cleared, this will probably be
right. And
the table.
One thing you actually just said while you were explaining all that was the next update is coming with a ton of UI stuff. Yep. And Shadowsoar, ex-Shadowsoar asks, what are you guys currently working on besides fixing occasional bugs with the current UI? So does this mean we can take a sneak peek at what you're actually working on?
Absolutely,
That's
yeah.
preventing customization or not making it the hot thing?
So basically there's two big features that we're working on, plus there's always in UI we always have an ongoing task of kind of bringing everything up in quality based on user feedback and on our own testing. So that is sort of an infinite pool of things to do. The two big features that we're working on that are new are basically for the Space Hub, which I don't know how much we've actually disclosed about what that is.
We've heard about what Steve showed it, which is basically, it's for those of you who don't know, the Space Hub is a relay at every planet where it becomes a lobby, a massive lobby persistent with all your players that are there at any given time. And that obviously needs massive UI support. Yeah. So from a UI perspective, what do you guys need to do to make that work for a player to actually do things there or experience it?
I mean, it's about balance, because we do really want to offer this sort of immersive experience where you're in this hub and you physically walk up to a storefront and you can choose items to buy and stuff like that. But there's always a downside to that, which is obviously it takes more time. More advanced or impatient players might want to just get to it right away. So we want to really make sure to kind of balance that experience and offer both the really immersive side, but also offer a fast route, of quick access menu, right, where everyone will hopefully be pleased and they can choose the type of experience that they want there. So
yeah, and we also got clear from what we've seen from stats that there's some players that basically enter Warframe, play one mission, and get out, right? Yep. So if you add that extra time that now you enter Warframe, you have to go to the hub, you gotta walk to the thing, start it, that 15, 20 minutes experience, all of a sudden, just got pushed another 10 minutes and, it gets more in the way other than instead of helping, which is what we want to make more immersive and stuff. So for UI, the big thing is, so the menu that right now contains everything is going away. Right. So
now, do you have any assets that you brought? I know you guys have the Play Now section, because I know you guys. So I want to know what we can show.
So we'll show a little bit of that in a second.
Yeah, sure.
That is basically, so part of what we're trying to do now is to, so a lot of times, especially for any player, it's a bit cumbersome. Like for new players, it's really hard to know where they have to go in the star chart.
Yep.
And for older players, a lot of times they're just replaying the same mission, or there's sometimes they just want to join their players and go. So the star chart, we find that it's becoming a little cumbersome for a lot of players. So the strategy that we're doing, besides the work that we're doing in star chart, which is really on early days, so we can't really look at that. But besides that, we're adding a new way to access thing, which is like a quick access thing to all game modes sort of thing, and that's Play Now.
Yeah. So this mock-up presents basically.
Yeah, this is. Wouldn't even call it a mock-up. It's more of a wireframe. So that means basically.
Hi, Steve.
1-0.
Is that the end of the
final
game?
score?
Yes. That's the final score. There you go.
Thank you.
This is Sport Report.
Sport. Sorry.
Yeah. So Play Now. This is more a wireframe and not a mock, which means basically it's very early days. Don't take anything
Not
that
final
literal.
Yeah. Yes, one thing we should preface with this is everything you're seeing right now and all the talk, this is aspirational plus the work in progress. And I think we have videos to show how far this work goes along. So if you're watching and you're like, oh my God, what have you done? What are you changing? These streams show the stages. And,
correct.
Yeah.
So for example, in this case, I mean, you can see in the play now, basically, it would be your next mission, so that we, instead of going to right at the start chart and finding what planet you were left on and which mission you have left to do, this will just pick the next one you have left to do. Things like joining friends that are playing right now, you just join their session, all your alerts, invasions, that sort of thing, basically would present here in a way that it would be at 2 clicks to go into games. So basically, play now, click on what you want to play, and you just go.
Totally.
I mean, the core of the idea here is really to curate an experience for our players. You know, make it a lot more accessible for people who, you know, perhaps aren't as familiar with the systems, and as well just, you know, really serve activities for people to do, making it, you know, they're easy to really easily come in and out of their gameplay as fast as possible.
So this ties in, so this is the kind of streamlined process you just discussed. Correct. And then Stalord D asks, I was wondering if you could get into more info about what else is going on in the hub. So specifically, what are your plans for how the players will interact with the menus and actions? So you answered this earlier relatively by saying the market will exist there and those types of things. So is there a kind of, I suppose, is it actually going to replace the Arsenal and market stuff that exists right now? Like,
they'll coexist in a sense.
They'll coexist.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I mean, really, our goal is, you know, I guess one of our pillars is to really drive the immersion of the experience. And so if we do go with, you know, a menu system, we want to make sure that it's, you know, really lightweight, but, you know, still fast, and, you know, it'll offer us, you know, slightly different experience than actually going in world. But that's the plan there, is to offer two parallel ways of accessing your screens and your information and all that sort of thing. So.
Right. And I think one thing that particular large clans, small clans, the clan management tools right now are quite. Is there something that you think are a challenge in terms of what what clans mean and kind of that? Do you guys have any?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a mock-up actually that we can show for that. We've been starting to work on you know, early phases of more of a clan screen, a clans page. And so our goal here is to, you know, really make it something a bit more special than it is now. Make it a home page, you know, where, you know, you can come and check on, you know, how your people are doing. Again, facilitating the entrance to the gameplay experience. You know, we had some ideas, you know, maybe you could see what your clan mates are doing, and you could join them if they had a free slot open. Again, you know, making the access to the dojo a lot more intuitive, a lot easier, a lot more obvious than it currently is now, especially for
key. Yeah. I mean, I guess this kind of sums up with one of the biggest and broadest questions we have that really, I feel, kind of summarizes what you guys have to approach every time you do UI work with. I'm just trying to find exactly who asked it, but The Last Disease, I suppose, asked it in a very succinct way, what are the biggest issues with the current UI regards to menu and in-game HUD? And clans, I think, oopsies, is an issue.
So I mean, that's a really great question. You know, what we've been doing is we've been coming up with what we call the UI pillars,
right?
Which are, you know, it's a mantra for how we make our UI for the experiences we want to convey. And actually, I'll just introduce those to you quickly. We have a couple images for that, just kind of talk about them really briefly, and it'll give you an idea of, you know, not necessarily where we are at the moment, but what our ideal vision and our goal for the UI is in general. So
the first slide, I think you have 5 images.
Yeah, that's right. So we have five main pillars, which we can take a look at.
Yay! And any sport report updates, or while we're waiting for the image to load?
So the first one is, you know, we call it easy to learn, hard to master, and this is the whole, I guess, issue on the accessibility of Warframe right now. You know, it's a fantastic game. It's got a really deep experience, but it can be quite hard to pick up for new users, and it's, you know, it's got quite a learning curve. So that's something that is really important for us to improve on. I think it's probably the biggest priority is, you know, making sure that people are able to get into the game right away from day one, enjoy it, understand all the systems, and especially it's really about the learnability and making sure that the UI and the game systems can be learned organically as much as possible.
Absolutely.
So basically avoiding that, you know, people have to leave the game and, you know, go look on the wiki and stuff like that. We want as much to be implied and taught in the game within the experience naturally as possible.
You guys are definitely the forefront of how to, like, I mean, the content needs to be there in terms of the training manual that was added in the codex, but as far as the UI, a lot of work to do, but you guys are doing a great job. So.
Exactly. So then we'll go on to the second pillar, Warframe United. So this is really about the user experience and about the stylistic aspect. As I'm sure you've noticed, we've got, for example, quite a few different art styles in the game at the moment. That's something that we want to change. We want to make sure that everything is, the same everywhere. Players, they can expect a certain look, a certain convention. For example, like stuff we have, an X in the upper right to close a menu somewhere. We have a back button somewhere else. We have an exit button somewhere else. Our vision is to just unify that and just have something standardized so that just improves the navigation, improves the intuitiveness of the screens.
Certainly.
And like I said, especially in terms of art style, not only within the game itself, but also, Warframe is a brand. We've been doing a lot of work on the Nexus app recently.
Right.
And we have some cool images to show for that. Actually, kind of just some.
So many images.
Yeah. So a bit of a redesign that we're having in mind for the Nexus.
Do you want to
app.
Show those now, or do you want to get through these first?
Let's show this now, and then we can go to Pillar 3 maybe if that's.
Show the Nexus
possible.
now.
Yeah. Let's
sure.
do that.
So the Nexus, for those of you that don't know, is. We released the app, I think, months and months ago, and it just got an overhaul, and it's getting, I guess, even a bigger design overhaul again now.
Yeah, so really we want to match a lot of the style and the feel of what's in game. So going with a tile approach, and what's really exciting is the detail view of. So if you go to the next image here, we'll be able to see some new hotness hopefully for seeing your details of various items in the codex, and Simon's been crushing code pretty hard. I can show you actually it's working right now.
Are we gonna get a zoom in on it?
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be visible in the light.
The glare. If we could just turn off the sun for this part of the stream.
So I mean we've got it all working. So hopefully that'll come out soon. Like I said, Simon's been doing some amazing job. Making this work on the different platforms or different devices that we support and that sort of thing. So hopefully that'll be coming soon. And we're also going to be doing a redesign of the alerts. So everything will match together. And Warren and Arthur are currently taking care of that.
And as far as I've heard, Dev, as well, as right now it's basically like an encyclopedia app. It's the information, and the next step is getting towards a functionality app as well, which is Foundry access, whatever kind of maintenance you could do. So we'll. Yeah,
I mean the ideas are unlimited there. We could really go. There's so much cool stuff we could do. So that's a little bit down the road though.
Sure. All right. So pillar number 3 we'll go back to, because you said you had 5.
Yes.
I'm hearing the arcade machine.
Yeah.
So 3 is universe.
So this is kind of what we talked about. And what Steve brought up previously about the hub. What I mean by the universe is the hero is that we really want to let the game shine, let the universe shine, and I'm not sure about that yet. Sorry. What do you mean? Sorry, Warren's.
Yeah, we have
they hear Warren or?
I don't think they can hear Warren, but.
Oh.
Just the PS4 app also getting up.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the universe is the heroes, like I was saying, it's letting the beauty of the world shine. Not making the interface as dominant as it perhaps once was. That's one of the big reasons for the stylistic changes in the HUD, for example, is making it a lot more lightweight, really, showing off the amazing characters that are in the game, the amazing weapons, the amazing environments, and just keeping the UI minimal and just functional.
Not putting giant blocks in your face.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Not that there's nothing wrong with giant blocks, but. And then the 4th.
And so this one, it's really about Tendo Together. It's kind of what we touched on briefly in the clans page, is really fostering that social experience, making lasting, meaningful relationships easier in the game. We really want to get you connected to the people that are playing in your squad, people that are in your clan, really making it a lot more social. And whatever we can do in the UI to enhance that is something we'll be really looking to push a lot moving forward.
Last but not least, and this is probably
the most important,
yeah, because for you said you started here 3 months ago, and I mean, a whole new HUD is, you see how involved the community gets in just tailoring it and giving you feedback. So
it's been an amazing experience for sure. I mean, it's been fantastic to be able to go on the forums and see people say positive, negative things, and I mean especially when we started the HUD, we did a lot of back and forth with the community themselves. Things that they don't like, things that they like, and we were able to really evolve the HUD from there. And actually, I think we have a really cool video to show of kind of where the HUD has come from and where it is now. So it's show you that. But I mean, just to say that we really value the community, and we always read the forums, and even though we can't answer all the time, we really see it as really a collaborative effort with you guys as much as possible. And Rebecca and Megan has really been helping us out a lot. If we haven't seen something, or just making sure they communicate the really important things that people are saying.
And speaking of things that we need to talk about, we're going to get to all the nitty-gritty about what exactly you guys can do with the questions that the players have. Like, the UI has gone under so many iterations of what it once gave you. Like, you could see what auras your party had, and now, so we'll get to all these delightful questions shortly. And yeah, I mean, this changes immensely.
I know every change that you see flying by here is, just based on feedback that we've gotten, from the forums, obviously, feedback from people here at DE.
And then,
But I mean, it's come such a long way from that first frame that, and that's all thanks to you guys. So
yeah, and then those 3D portraits come in. You had your round your round characters, and then all of a sudden they turn into actual people things, if that's a fair word. But yeah. So fast it goes by. I kind of want to throw that clan UI one back up, just because I want to talk about that a little bit more, because clan management has been an issue for people. So what kind of, so this is a mock-up stage, like what's kind of the progress on this? Is this coming with the next major update, or what's...
Yeah, I'm personally actually working on this right now. It is, basically the problem we found is that clans felt too disjointed right now. Like, you have a little tab for clans in the social menu, and then you have like to go to the keys to actually open the clan, to open the dojo, sorry, and then you have the stats over here. So this screen is all about sort of bringing it together. Mm-hmm. So on the side of people that already have a clan, you go in and you have all the clan members. You have active sessions for all your clan members.
Right.
Anyone that's playing, you can just join with one click. Obviously, joining your dojo. A little log to sort of tell you, what's going on in your clan.
Right.
Who just joined, who left, what room is being built, that sort of thing.
So one thing, does this increase the actual management? So say if you're a warlord or have a role that manages people, the sorting function, or trying to scroll and search for people's names, any kind of...
So really, right now, basically, the only thing that's sort of more administration for the lords, and you cannot see it here, but the equivalent of this screen for someone that doesn't have a dojo is I go in and basically I have the ability to create a dojo like now.
Yep.
Access to the training section for dojos, just the clans, so you know what a clan is.
Right.
And then another section which is like a lightweight thing to find a clan.
Right.
So right now, like, how do you find a clan is generally either on the forums or just spam recruitment.
Yeah.
Which recruitment is like mixed with, like, it's like 85% keys.
Yeah.
And 15%.
Yeah, because you guys are kind of faced with the burden of introducing the idea that dojos and clans exist in this game. Because right now, like, unless you know already or watched, one of Dean's videos or something, it's hard. You gotta get people to these areas, but.
Yeah, there's a lot of content there and a lot of really cool things, and most people don't know about them other than for maybe they want a weapon that's only inside of the clan.
Right, like the wand does that makes the...
Yeah, that's basically right now the only way it happens. So we kind of want to bring all of that up to have more exposure, and that's basically the idea of this section is sort of to, instead of burying the clan inside of a little button out there, is just trying to put it at the forefront, sort of thing.
I think that'll be very helpful for clans, small, large, non-existent yet. So.
Yeah.
One thing also, I mean, this clan work is, we just started recently. As we always do when we start, we go with what we think is going to be the best solution. But I mean, by all means, feel free to start, topic
on this, post this in the forums.
Yeah, because I mean, I imagine that, you guys have so many awesome ideas of stuff that we could put on this clan page. What's most important for you for clan gameplay, all that sort of thing. So we're really open to suggestions, especially where, we're at such an early stage where we can make those if we get enough of a response and, people feel that they're important enough. So please, feel free to leave suggestions on the forums.
And get it up there. UI feedback section, of course, because otherwise the Pels bot will have to move it, who is one of our community moderators that is actually a person, not a bot. But
Platinum time?
Platinum time, yes. Do you want to do a sports report? Well, we do platinum.
Canada is still winning.
They
won.
It's over. I know. It remains.
Yes, it is still true. All right, so we're going to roll the dice for our next 1,000 platinum prize. So if you are logged into Twitch and watching right now, you are Master Lucario 234. You have just won 1,000 platinum.
Congratulations, Master Lucario. You and Canada are both winners.
Yeah.
And Bones. Don't forget Bones.
Bones, yes. So message our Twitch page with your alias of your PSN ID or your PC account, and Megan will hook you up with 1,000 platinum. Excellent.
Okay.
So we're going to go right into one more of the technical questions from Azure_Kite, who asks, seeing as the Warframe UI uses flash.swf files, do the .swfs use a general shape and scale of the UI, or are parts of the same .swf animation tiled over the screen on the fly? That is, are they just overlaid on top of everything, or are parts of the SWF moved here or there on the screen by the Evolution engine?
It's more like the second one. Basically, so the HUD itself contains most of what you see in the HUD, but not all. For example, the transmissions are separate, the achievements are separate. There's a few other things that are not part of the same file. And everything gets moved by code based on the HUD margins that users can change, the size of your aspect ratio, things of that sort, the motion of when you jump and stuff like that, right? So all those get moved separately, but yeah.
I guess just kind of tying into that, I mean, I don't know technically, so hopefully you guys do, but when you have to start considering console into this, now that, you know, PS4 operates on its certain specs and stuff, does the new HUD design, does your approach to these things change, or?
Yeah, so basically the main sort of conflict between the two is that basically the largest population in Steam uses a resolution that's 720p, whereas PS4 is 1080p, which is obviously larger. So we gotta sort of try and keep a balance there, so that, you know, most of our user base have the experience that the best possible experience, basically. Obviously, if we designed for PS4, then a lot of users in PC would be like looking at little tiny fonts and things like that. So
I feel like some of our graphic sounds on PC will your 720p quote will.
Yeah.
But
so we basically have to like keep a balance there. And of course, you know, as an individual player, and probably most of the people that are looking at the stream, they probably, you know, if you're hardcore into games, you don't have a computer that can only run on 720p.
Yeah.
You probably have a much better computer.
Yeah.
And you're going like, well, I look at some screens and they're like tiny little things in the center, and there's all this empty space. Well, yeah, but it's basically due to the fact that we gotta try and aim for where the most of the population is.
Right.
And we've also had cases where we've tried to make screens that sort of adapt to things.
Right.
For example, in the case of the mods, you know, where you're like for the fusion, transmute and stuff. In that screen, if you have a larger resolution, you get more rows of mods. And we got into so many troubles with that. Like, we got some crazy people that had like some resolution of upstanding monitors, and all of a sudden they could see like 300 mods at once, and they complained that it was running slow. Yeah, so
the data just quadrupled by someone that only stuff. Yeah.
So we got into a lot of problems with that. So, you know, it's something that we definitely want to explore to try and make it so it's a little more flexible based on what size of screen you have.
Right.
But it definitely has a lot of dangers, and it's not like right now. It's like definitely something that we're very wary of.
Yeah, like it has to be stable. So
Correct.
that factors in immensely.
Yeah.
All right. One thing in terms of just style, and I mean, the HUD right now, what it is. One user, SPR Bridget, asks, do you think that the Warframes could ever have their own HUD style that suits their play style or aesthetic? So, for example, Zephyr has a sleek and smooth-looking HUD, while Necros has a dark and spooky HUD. And
that would be absolutely awesome.
But
but no, there's no. I mean, we have to get our core mechanics and our core layout, and, you know, if anything is customizable, we have to get that nailed down. And then once we get that, then that's when we can start looking at, okay, how can we make this, you know, give it more personality depending on what you choose. So, but I mean, in theory, I mean, that sounds fantastic. I'd love to do that. So.
Well, spooky HUDs or hookups. And one other question, one of your pillars that you mentioned earlier was about, you know, it's the world. And so Toe_Ma asks, I'm personally not a big fan of the RPG-esque damage numbers floating above enemies as you hit them. I come from an action game background and find the floating numbers unaversive and less ninja feeling. So that's it's a UI, it's part of the game. Is that something that you guys have thought about changing, tweaking?
It's a kind of a tricky thing because, yeah, in action games you don't generally see those types of numbers, but you gotta also think that in action games you don't have as much control over exactly how your damage works, you know,
right.
how much crits you get, how much procs you get, so those numbers kind of reinforce all of that,
yeah.
which is like more of an...
They're kind of the biggest way that we know that we've screwed up something. Someone's like,
It is sort of like what makes, like what gives it the RPG side, right? Because you're really tweaking exactly how your damage works, you know? So it's one of those things that, you know, in an ideal world, once we get the fully customizable HUD, players can say opt out of it if they want to, or opt in. And that is basically the answer. But by default, I definitely think like most of the like the core audience of Warframe needs those numbers.
Yes. Yeah, I personally don't mind them. I can see why some people would find them unimmersive, using that as the grounds for it. But I mean, in terms of how much my weapons have actually improved or what I've modded them, like I kind of like the, you know, the Zaz that I am now doing a 80,000 damage.
It is nice to see a little yellow number there here with like 4 digits, and you go, yeah.
That's 5 digits. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I'm a noob.
No, you're not. It's okay. One of the big questions is about, from Lady Scootaloo and others are asking about teammate energy and powers in the HUD being shown with their durations, UI elements that expose things for more tactical gameplay. So we introduced skill timers, which we'll answer this question in 3 parts if we can. Will every one of Vauban's powers get a skill timer, for example? Because Frost Snow Globe has it, which as of now has duration, but it can be recast and recast. And Vauban's logically could do that as well. Is that coming?
Correct. Yeah. Basically, it was sort of like a, you know, the timer sometimes doesn't exactly match due to the fact that they have health, so they can get destroyed like that, right? So at the time we did the decision of not putting it in, but after seeing the feedback, we are going to put that in.
Okay. Excellent. Number 2, if I'm Rhino and cast Roar, I see that my skill timer is going down, but you guys who benefit from the buff don't. Are you going to get into that granular level of display in the HUD, or?
I mean, that's really, it's one of those things that, again, you know, if we had a custom HUD, we'd allow users to, you know, say whether they want to have that shown or not. But currently, you know, we feel that we've kind of reached an optimum amount of information to not clutter the HUD too much.
At some point, it is going to get.
I mean, you could put as much information as you wanted, right? But I mean, there's
and
a
that
point
really
where
only fits with a certain, like in terms of buffing powers, only a few have that, like Blessing, you need to Roar, and all those things. So
really, to us, like we feel like some of those things are much better communicated with changes to your avatar. Right. That really is what we feel works better than just a little icon in one of the squad mates, you know?
Right, so like getting a glow on.
Yeah, that sort of thing. We feel like that communicates much better that something is happening to you. It's like much more present to you.
Because you're not glowing anymore.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Speaking of avatar, I know you weren't using it in the square picture sense, but Chicken Bar asks, we need to see which warframes our teams are using in the HUD. Right now, it's just showing the profile icon that they've customly chosen, which actually doesn't reflect what frame they're using. So is it possible to do simple text? Any way to see at a HUD level who you actually have in the game with you?
I mean, again, that's a question of, you know, balancing clutter versus information. You know, the profile images are there just to kind of help you get a sense, oh, these are different people and that sort of thing, but it's a little bit more of a technical challenge because of all the color customization and all, you know, the character customization you can do to actually have that updated there. So I mean, it's something that, you know, we've talked about.
Yep.
But for now, we feel that with the solution that we have, where you know you have the player's name and you see them at the start of the round, is enough to convey that information.
I almost wonder if that's something we eventually are going to have to ask. Like, would you guys rather have the custom avatar you've chosen, you've bought with Platinum in the games with you, or use that real estate for the frame? Yeah,
part of me feels like, you know, something we're not communicating correctly. The intro hero shots, if you don't have like a good sense of who you're playing with, right?
You mean the diorama kind of thing?
No, like the intro when, you know, everyone lands and sort of thing.
Falling from the ceiling grade of doom.
The amazing grade.
Grade of doom.
What I mean is, like, you start sort of packed together, right? And there's certain gates in each one of the mission types, right? That basically sort of force you to reunite, hopefully.
Yes.
So I feel like you know more about the fact that you're playing with Rhino because there's a giant guy called Rhino right next to you, you know, and than you would from like just a Rhino 23 next to the game, right?
Mission type will definitely determine.
Yeah, of course, because there's some where you just scatter around and you never see them again.
Yeah.
So that is definitely that's another problem. That's not my problem.
Fix the mission. We'll do that on a mission stream.
It does bring you to the question, like, okay, well, where do you stop, right? Showing that information in the HUD, like, do we show the whole loadout for the other guy? Is it important for you to know if someone has a sniper rifle or if someone's
in the game? I mean, you do see it in the loading lobby, so that knowledge is there. It's just that knowledge is retained. Or
correct.
Yeah.
I mean, the tricky thing is this changes from player to player. You know, like we saw a lot. You know, during the feedback that we got on the HUD is, you know. For example, you know, the risk of treading here, but the location of the powers. Our first examples, you know, had the powers really kind of centered in the middle, really, you know, obvious, really evident, and we got tons of negative feedback, which basically told us, you know, oh, it's too much. It's, you know, I know what my powers are. I don't need to see that all the time. And then we changed it to make it, you know, basically have a on the right side and the bottom have it be a sort of, you know, attack module. And then we got a whole other group of people
why would you change that?
Why would you change it? Why it's not obvious enough? I'm not seeing it there. So I mean, even, you know, it's not even a question of, you know, us versus the community. It's just everyone has their own opinions, you know, stylistically, but also in terms of where things are placed. And you know, that's where the benefit of a custom HUD could.
And that's kind of the ultimate solution for all. Because I mean, there's some truth, and you'll never make everyone happy with the HUD. So obviously, customization is the way to achieve that kind of, but. There's a lot of UI work to be done overall. So
soon TM, right?
Yeah, I know. Just around the corner, I think, is what the devs have taken to saying. So, all right, we'll get to a few more questions here. And this again, so this just relates to, I know you guys have kind of said how much information becomes too much on the HUD, but one feature that we used to have months ago, and I actually can't put my finger on when it was removed, but at the lobby point, you could see what auras your party had. So the auras, you know, you put them on your frame and they benefit the whole group. So whether you have an energy siphon or you have a corrosive projection, your team will benefit from that. And at this rate now, you have to tell each other what you have. So is there plans to reintroduce that back into the HUD? Or
yeah, there are some issues with people basically bringing the same aura twice,
unless they want to stack 4 corrosive projections, which is a great tactic, or 4 siphons.
But basically it should be something that users get to know so that they can make an informed decision.
Right. That was from Carl Castro, by the way, who asked that.
So Carl Castro?
Yeah, Carl Castro.
Has to come back sometime.
Yes. So it's
just around the corner.
You don't get to, fine. If you're on the stream, you will get to say that. That is okay. You can say this. Okay. So crosshairs. We're going to go back to the nitty gritty of the HUD elements because that's what players see the most, I would argue, if you look at time in menus versus time in game. And one thing actually we should mention right now, the PS4 players are getting this HUD. We submitted the build. It should be coming. I don't want to, it depends on when it gets approved. So you were about to experience all things HUD 2.0. So the idea of dynamic crosshairs, this question came up a few times, but I'll throw Kalane's name on it again. What are the possibilities of having this? Ones that change with accuracy rating of weapons, as well as reacting to recoil or selecting crosshair types. What's the...
So we actually have code support for all of that. It's basically something that got disabled because it was just too hectic, but it's definitely something we should revisit at some point to try and find something that just doesn't, like some of them, like, you know, the shotgun, you shoot and all of a sudden your thing goes like crazy.
Right.
And it's partly a good thing that it goes crazy, but partly not.
Yeah.
So basically it is something that we definitely have in mind. It's, I don't know when it's gonna be worked on.
But it's definitely, people are saying they're noticing that there's a lack of refreshments on this stream relative to our other ones. So I don't know if you guys want something to drink, but we can try.
What have you got?
I don't know. Oh yeah, no one can get. DD Steve, if you're watching, can you bring, I'm just kidding. Bring us drinks. No, I guess we'll do another platinum prize right now as well. Just, in lieu of drinks, we will give away platinum.
It's a good substitute.
Good substitute. Someone else can buy space drinks. Here we go.
This just in, Canada's still celebrating.
Canada, yes. If anyone ever wanted to film a post-apocalyptic setting in a town, do it when the Olympics are on and Canadians are watching hockey, because empty streets. But here we go. 1,000 platinum coming to someone watching the stream and logged in to Twitch. Here we go. Syncrasis. 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 You won 1,000 platinum. Message our Twitch page with your in-game alias or PSN ID, and Megan will hook you up. And I'm looking that way because Megan's right there. So thanks, Megan.
You gonna congratulate him?
Are you gonna?
No, sorry, you don't get.
Way to go, Syncrasis.
Sorry, I got distracted reading the chat. Is
Yeah. Is D? Yeah, is D?
A little ADD here.
Oh well. We'll get to questions then to stimulate the attention. I'm almost done most of the ones I grabbed, but there's a lot of good ones in chat as well. But right now they're realizing that platinum was just given away, so the reaction time, and there's a bit of latency, so that is one thing. Navarian asks, what features, if any, were you unable to include, or features you wish you could include? Not including customization, of course, because we've already talked about that. But
I think I have a couple jotted down here.
oh, you brought notes.
Of course.
You're the first, I think. No, I think one of the animation team people did, but you brought.
I mean, there's so much. Again, it's less for us. It's really about supporting the new features that the team wants to put on. Obviously, the community wants to put out. But again, for us, it's really about supporting that, but also improving what we currently have. It's constantly evolving. We're really lucky in the sense that it's a constantly evolving product.
Absolutely.
That it's never permanent.
Like, did you know you were going to be doing Space Hub's UI
No,
a
exactly.
month and a half ago?
And I mean, that means in terms of new features as well,
Yep.
but also in terms of, I don't think that we're too proud to go back on a decision that we made that, maybe we realized after, there was enough testing that it was the wrong thing to do.
Right.
So working off the feedback, working off, just the experience of gameplay and that sort of thing. It's so dynamic.
Yep.
So there's always enough to, keep improving, keep everything evolving, so.
Yeah, really, UI touches sort of like the whole game. So, like, features come in from all places. Like, the clan thing is something we wanted to add because we felt that there was a need there. But at the same time, all the Space Hub obviously is driven by the design decisions.
Totally.
And for example, the new Play Now thing is just something I've always sort of wanted because I literally have friends that have told me, oh, I went in to play and then I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
you're like, I can fix this.
Yeah.
I can do this.
So it sort of comes from all sides. If I had to pick one that I'm always sort of annoyed that we haven't tackled is right now, if you are just starting to play and you go into the upgrade screen, you probably have your brain blown by just how complex it feels.
Would you like to mod your gear? Good luck.
Yeah, if you want to know how to do it, you just have to go to a wiki and read a few pages.
Yes. Well, I mean, we added the training, and it's like, have we solved the problem overall by adding training? We've helped with the confusion, but
yeah, I think it's like a two-sided thing. Obviously, we have the training. We probably need to add like a little more detail in there just to help you with like the particulars of everything. And from the other side is to make the screen itself more intuitive, so that when you go in, it doesn't just scream at you. You know where to start at least.
Yes.
And that sort of goes back to like the first pillar, which is the easy to use, hard to learn sort of thing. Like hard to master or whatever.
yeah, it's hard to learn, but easy to learn.
That's whatever he said.
Oh, sorry. If you want to.
Sorry, I'm done.
Yeah, I'd agree with Pablo that like the big beef for me, especially starting recently here, has been just accessibility issues. It's really difficult to figure out what the hell is going on sometimes, and that's been a huge motivator to kind of get in there and try and remedy that.
You basically hit the ground running the second because I mean, you said there's inconsistencies with navigation and there's just all kinds of areas, and I mean, one thing at a time, and I think the clan stuff is long overdue, as you guys said, and you've been working on it, and that's very exciting. Can't wait. And I know other clans probably can't either, which is very good. And I wonder how many feedback threads at this point have started. So we'll go back to our desks and check. But here we go. So you already, Kinper asks explicitly, what part of the menu's UI still need actualization to be consistent with the rest? And is there one you're more eager to touch than others? So you acknowledge that it's an issue, but do you have any, what's your next one that you're going to touch, basically?
I mean, there's so much. I mean, even just in the the game flow, you've got a different speaking artistically, even you've got a different style for mission complete as you do in the HUD as you do for the menu. So I mean, there's so much to choose from.
Yeah, that mission complete and stats screen. When's that coming?
Yeah, that is one of the ones that is like really high on the queue. The mission complete you don't have the Sentinel XP. If you got a bunch of things, you actually can't see all of them.
Right. Right. Yeah. So mission complete screen is.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that Daryl every now and then comes and is like, hey, are you working on mission complete yet? Sorry. Yeah, that's definitely high on the priority. The other two big ones, as I mentioned, upgrades is something that, obviously it works, but we feel it's pretty daunting, especially for new users.
Yeah.
And the other one is Star Chart, which obviously is changing quite a bit with the whole Space Hub thing.
Yeah, UI can serve two purposes: functionality and then actually engaging and informative. So like the mission end stuff, I'm sure you could get arguments that it actually doesn't even function properly because you can't see everything you got, or it doesn't show you. So
yeah, and for example, a lot of times the question is, well, okay, I saw it there for 8 seconds. Why can't I see it when I'm back in the front end?
Yeah. Well, then you can see your stats, but
it's like you can see one or the other sort of thing. So I'm very aware of that.
Yes. No, I don't mean to beat over a point that I know you're aware of, but I think it's important that we talk that it's definitely going to be changed one thing at a time with everything with Warframe. So
that's around a different corner.
Yes. We have a question in chat from Wolfrix who says, could we get a clan list of all the clans in game so we can pick one or send a message to them and not just ask in chat to get a random?
So sort of. Basically, that screen that we were showing you, that is if you already have a clan. If you don't have a clan, you're going to go in and basically there's going to be a tool for you to find a clan. And it's going to be, you're going to pick probably, I'm not even going to say exactly what because we haven't exactly figured out, but the idea is you pick, and then out of whatever settings you put in that you're looking for, you'll get a list of 20 random guilds. Obviously, like the clans can opt in or out of that, so you don't get spammed.
Right.
And then you can just
so clans that are recruiting can toggle themselves actively recruiting and.
Correct. Yeah. And they'll be right there. You right-click. Probably right.
Is there going to be tier considerations? Because as you know, we have 5 tiers.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is one of the first sort of things that is a filter that for sure will be in there. The other filters we're still talking about.
Okay.
What exactly are they going to be?
Right.
So you're going to get a list of them. You right-click, you just click them, apply, write a tiny little message, and then whoever's assigned as the recruiter in your...
Which is a role that anyone can...
Well, in this case, it will be like a specific guy that gets the messages.
So you're going to... Is this going to tie into the existing recruiter role, or are you adding an additional role for this?
I mean, it would probably kind of work in the same way that you can assign, roles to clan members.
Sure.
So I mean, right now, you have can invite people, can all that
Architect,
stuff.
treasurer,
I imagine it's probably
in-game mail. We don't want it to just go to everyone.
I see.
Right?
So it's not going to use the Whisper system. It's going to use the in-game mail system.
Correct. So if you're offline, you're offline, and you can still be the recruiter for your clan. You log in. There's 10 applications. Invite, reject, and you're done. That is basically the idea.
Gotcha.
Really pushing that social aspect that we were speaking about earlier.
Because right now the inbox system exists as basically any of the technologies we have sending out. So this would be one of the first user-created inboxes, which is a good way to use that system, to say the least. So that's exciting. All right, we'll get a few more questions from chat. Will there be more end mission stats implemented from D_Zerat? For example, can we see how much damage total? We can see how much damage total we do. Oh, sorry, that was a long question. But we will be able to see what abilities and weapons we used and how much each one did in that mission. So basically taking the statistics of your Rhino Stomp did 100,000 damage as opposed to,
I believe those stats are actually segregated. I think we can access them. Have to check, but...
Right, so I suppose when you guys approach the end mission stuff.
Yeah, it definitely doable. I don't know, around yet another corner.
Third corner. This is on the second floor, so it's not easy to say it's not a huge priority. Is there, so the Foundry, we'll talk about that area because I see some questions in chat about this. This is a functionality question, not a design question. Think there's a way to queue up Foundry builds if you have the blueprint for them, because right now in terms of functionality you can't simultaneously craft. So if you have 4 form of blueprints, each takes X amount of hours to craft, you have to go back once it's done and recraft the next one.
Okay.
So not simultaneous crafting, not craft before at once, but is there going to be a queue management system for that? Is that
that's interesting. Yeah, definitely could be.
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? This is the why not stream. No one's here to tell us no, so we'll just do it. Excellent.
I mean, the only thing is obviously once they're done, you have to collect them into your inventory, right? So
Yes.
that's the part. So what they auto collect, we separate it into 4.
You'll figure it out.
We'll think about it.
Yeah. Questions in chat. Icons. So the last, I think it was 12.2.0, fixed the survival marker versus capsule icon. What kind of changes and things are coming with mini-map icons?
Yeah, so there's a change right now, which is basically we're changing so that they have a deterministic order. Right now, when basically whichever icon got in first is the one that's draw behind.
Yes.
So that causes sometimes that your friends are covering an objective or things like that.
Or the extraction markers covered by a survival. Yeah.
That happens a lot. So
And it's green. People don't want it to be green. But
people don't want it to be green? Okay.
you want it to be red. Chat, if you could say the words red or green for what you want the extraction marker to be so we can see, please let us know. And you'll be late, so we'll see it as it happens.
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
So extraction icon now will be at the very top no matter what.
Hierarchy.
Yeah, then it will be probably objectives behind it, then friends behind it, then everything else.
Right.
That's probably how it's going to be. That's already implemented. It probably should go in the next update, which I think it's next Wednesday.
Usually we
So it
we
should
throw those
probably
out on
be-
Wednesdays.
As far as the color goes, I mean, the way we thought about it is extraction is a good thing.
Red.
That's why
I'm just
it's
showing
green.
you guys red right now. I know it takes about a minute and delay, but
Oh, this is green
Pink.
catching up.
red. Purple. Just look at the red.
Oh, pink.
Purple and pink too. Red. So we just turned this into
Okay.
Twitch Designs Warframe.
Pink it is.
no, that's not. Twitch Designs Warframe. We should do that every now and then. Just
Pick a color.
pick a color and we'll do it. Sorry, that was fun. But yes,
Yeah, so from our perspective, red should be for bad things.
red should be
and
for bad things.
green is, yeah, you did it,
Right.
let's go. That is basically the way we
Yes,
think about
and
it.
you know what? Pyrobit says red is already used for enemies on the radar and capture targets. So
Yep.
what color? If red's reserved for bad things, then we have
Yeah.
just made a sign correlation to colors.
Yep.
And
And
excellent.
obviously, colorblind people will hate us for it.
And speaking of colorblind people, we have had the colorblind feedback, colorblind comments, colorblind usability for many, many months, and
I
we've
think I've
always
seen Steve answer.
We've acknowledged-
Not answer this.
we've acknowledged it over and over again. And I mean, red green lockers, when we had the codex scan overlay, it poses a lot of issues for
Yeah.
that type of usability problems. And so you redesigned the HUD. What kind of steps can you guys take to help with those areas?
So I mean, one of the considerations, a great example is the mini-map icons.
Yes.
They all have really, distinct shapes. They have actually like icons instead of, just circles and that sort of thing. So hopefully that'll help users
Right.
differentiate.
Like your allies are no longer a color in a circle.
Exactly.
They are a
Lotus.
Lotus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, we have been, running our mocks through. There's a generator on. I don't remember exactly what the name of it's called, but it actually lets you preview different types of color blindness.
Oh.
So we've been passing that through there and just making sure that we're trying as best as possible to,
Right.
to accommodate that. So.
Excellent.
That's one of those tricky ones because, for example, that generator, you see all the different types, and there's tons of different.
Red, green, blue.
Yeah.
I forget
So
what they are. Blue, yellow.
We ran it through there in a way that we, to a point that we thought, it looked pretty good on all of them. There was a clear distinction between the shield color and the health color. All that sort
Yeah.
of things sort of were working. So, I kind of wonder, like, if there's more specifics. Obviously, for us to see it in a screen, it looks good, right? But it's very different to someone that is actually colorblind and
Of course.
can see this in motion. In the middle of the fight, maybe it's not as clear as we think.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So-
you need the feedback from the users
Yeah.
to tell you that because
Yeah,
you
so
can,
maybe, like, ideally, if we can get some more specific, like, actual, like, here's exactly the problem
Yeah, well,
I have with this part.
yeah, those
that
threads
would help
exist
us
too, and
understand.
then I mean a lot of it exists in the actual meshes of the environment, like the circles always being lockers
Yeah.
and red and green. That's
Yeah.
someone in chat just said make it an X if it's red. Yes, so that's not you guys though. That's
Yeah, that one is...
that's environment art.
but
So,
yeah.
but
I
anyway,
mean, like that kind of stuff is also one of the big reasons why we have the bars for the health and shield, but we also have these really big numbers.
Yes.
It's so that if you have trouble, differentiating the colors, we don't want you to just rely on that bar, basically, because you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Exactly.
So having those numbers there just adds another layer of differentiation to hopefully help with that experience.
Yes.
So,
excellent. One of the things of hit notification, one of the questions that I just saw in chat fly up was we used to have the red and blue glow if your shields or your health was getting damaged and from the direction. Right now, there is a little bit of notification of that. Are you planning on adding any levels of you are being hurt other than the numbers depleting or the bar depleting?
Those should still be in there.
sounds like a bug.
Yeah.
So
there's two things.
Yeah.
One, you get hit and your shields, the whole edge does the thing.
Yes.
Obviously, that's non-directional. That was broken for like a day or two.
Right.
Right. So when the hot scale came in, before we fixed it, those edges were basically lost. But there's also a thing around the reticle that basically indicates that. The only change to that one is that now it's a little further away from the reticle, so the circle is a little larger.
Right, so I just saw someone in chat bring that up, so.
Yeah, so, that's the only real change there. If for some reason you're not getting it, then it is a bug that we need to address, but I'm not aware of it, so.
Right. Yep, we'll have to take a look and see. All right, so we are nearing the 3 o'clock mark. It's been an hour. We'll take a few more questions from chat just to see what else you can answer. This is the UI stream, so if you have questions that aren't related to UI, we can try and ask you guys, but oh, here we go. Could we get an option to lock the mini map and full map separately? So right now, if you hit on PS4, I think if you hit the actual touchpad, and on PC, if you hit M, the map shows up.
Big one, yeah.
Yep. And locking it, if you lock it in its little portrait mode, people prefer that, people don't. And it maintains that when it comes over to full map.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously separating is not hard. It's just there is also a point of like negative returns when you start adding so many options that, for example, like I saw a lot of posts asking for, oh, why can't we turn off the motion in the HUD? Well, the thing was there. It's just that there's so many options.
It was there since it shipped, and I think that was a huge issue. At what point do you start getting so many on-off toggles?
So that's why we added that extra section just for HUD, so that people could find them more easily.
Yes.
But it's still a problem. Like I've still seen a few asking for the ability to take off the ability dots, for example, and that has been in there for a little while. I don't know.
That's
over
like
a week or something.
A week and a bit. That was 12. Might have been just before 12.1.
Yeah, so those things are in there, but we get so many options.
Yes.
And how exactly? So the more we add, the more users kind of miss the other one. So it's sort of like a missing the forest for a tree sort of thing.
Right. We do have some feedback questions just of down teammates can be more noticeable. I think a lot of people, the second that new HUD hit, how it helps with down teammates. It has a timer, it has a better indication, has been a huge plus. Some people in chat are saying the visibility of that might still be an issue, so.
Yeah, one thing we added, I don't think it's live yet, so it'll probably come out next Wednesday, is a marker. So if your down player is behind you, you'll get one of the markers in world saying, hey, look that way. Once you turn around, you'll see his health and his down thing stayed there.
Look that away.
So,
you got a 10-0 down.
That is basically the problem that was there. Is basically, if they died and you weren't looking in that direction, all you had was the squad info, and if you didn't have that up, then it was definitely a problem.
Speaking of squad info up.
Squad info up.
On by default instead of having to hit Z the second you enter every mission, or is that an information?
Actually, there is another setting for that.
It actually exists?
Yeah.
In the game right now.
I don't have it in the game right now. It was actually a PS4 setting that has been there forever, and we turned it on for PC now because we heard a lot of users asking for it.
Yep.
So that's one of those things. One of our community managers will confirm for you if that's in or not.
Yes.
Because I don't know.
Okay. Sports reports.
Kind of everything, Pablo.
Look at you. All right. One of the questions was, I know you guys showed the video of iterations of this HUD, like as it progressed, and one of the kind of the reticule being the information for stamina or energy or any of those things. Do you have plans to put stuff back there, or right now they live where they live?
So basically, what we did is, while Pablo was working on kind of prototyping the customizable HUD, what I was doing on mine was I created this big document outlining all the different components that we have.
Right.
What you'd be able to toggle on and off.
Right.
Would you be able to scale it? Would you be able to move it? All that sort of really technical specification stuff. And one of the options that we did look at was, the ability to either have it as a component that you can move around or something that's linked to your crosshair. So that's something that we have thought about giving the users the option to do if we were to proceed forward with this. So because obviously they're again two very different groups. People are like, get rid of the crosshair clutter.
Or
and people who
give
are
me
like,
my information directly in my line of fire.
Exactly. So I mean,
people are saying it is in the HUD, so this would have related to your latent question about.
There you go.
There you go.
So no more work for our community managers to do down there.
You can do it. All right, so we have reached 3 o'clock. We'll take a few more questions just because I feel like chat has a lot of good ones right now. I see the words Melee 2.0 flowing at the chat, and as UI, is there any UI work you have going into the Melee overhaul that's coming?
So I mean, obviously with Melee 2.0, you will have your Melee info displayed in the HUD.
Because it's equipable.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, I know that's something that we've talked about, but until Melee 2.0 comes, then that won't be visible. But as soon as it comes in, you'll actually be able to see all your details for your Melee weapon. So
which is also something that a lot of users ask for. Why did the affinity for Melee weapon went away in one of the mocks? In the early mocks, the Melee weapon just appeared there like a little bar for the affinity. Now that you can actually equip it, that's when you can see that.
So it's coming with the functionality of the actual gameplay itself. Gotcha.
Exactly, but it's ready to go otherwise. So.
Okay, your ducks are in a row then. Excellent. All right. So will we see, this is more of a technical question, will we see the ping/latency numbers? So are you ever planning on displaying connectivity information?
Not really.
No, okay. That, sometimes they're yes or no questions. We can work with that. Can we expect any changes to sniper scope overlays from Blade Maverick? Is that an aesthetic question that falls outside your realm, or?
I mean, that's an aesthetic question, but I mean, again, it's kind of like the same comment that someone made. Where do we get, either different reticles or even different skins for different
I feel like
HUDs?
a lot of people have just straight up said, can we just turn off the sniper scope?
Oh.
So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is sort of like a trade-off. Like the way I see like a sniper rifle in terms of gameplay, it definitely should be a little like claustrophobic sort of feeling of you're like focusing on one thing, and the rest of the world, it's okay for it to sort of
go away because what matters is what's in the end of your scope, not.
And it is basically a trade-off. Once you're looking here, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't as easily notice when you're about to be attacked. That is part of the trade-off of a sniper rifle. So while it might seem like I wish I could like still shoot at great distances, but still be
my peripheral is not inhibited.
I don't think it should work.
All right. Well, you are in a position to make these decisions, so. But as all things with the game, they do often change with time. So we'll see. Totally cool. We'll see what else is going on in chat for questions. Tunnel vision, Pablo, that's what it's called, says Ori Klein.
There you go.
People are asking about books, and unfortunately, unless you guys are making a UI book, can't answer that. Kethis asks, are we going to be able to see your mods and inventory in the dojo? So that is a question about turning the real-world immersiveness into functionality. So I know you talked a bit about this with the hubs and that being a market thing. Can you speak to a little bit more of what's planned with immersive functionality?
So there's two sides to this. One is the functional side is we are making it so basically now that you will be able to switch that sort of stuff in the hub, you could theoretically do the same in your dojo.
Yes.
So functionally. Now, in terms of what we want as design, I don't know if we want you to be able to directly in the dojo change that. Like it's more of a design question.
Right.
That should probably be more for Steve or Scott.
Right. Perhaps a customization room, the dojo closet to throw your scarves on.
It is basically, I'm hanging out in my dojo. Can I do the same things that I would do hanging out in the hub, sort of thing?
Right.
Should I or should I not? And that's more a question. That's a Steve question. It's probably you're gonna yell at me for trying to answer right now.
We'll see. That is a good question. I keep leaving the dojo to check my inventory, says Idea Atomic. So there's definitely there's a massive threads about this too, about turning the dojo into the immersive thing. But we'll see what goes with the hubs, and then that'll be exciting. Excellent. So I feel like we've reached a time thing here. I'm going to see if there's any UI question. Can we please have all the icons for allies and the teammates to be different? It's really hard to see where teammates are when you are in an invasion mission.
That should be
allies. That is already done. So
shipping soon.
probably on the update next Wednesday.
Yep.
Right. So when you have all your Corpus or Grineer at your back, they're all
Yeah.
So now you'll basically, your allies, your human allies are lotus symbols,
Yeah.
whereas your NPC allies are little blue dots. So you should
Gotcha.
be able to differentiate them a little bit more than
right. Because I feel like
previously.
there's been 1 or 2 times when I've gone back to look for someone.
It's like
oh my
madness,
God.
yeah.
It was just a Moa, and then you play the next mission against the Corpus to kill the Moa that just tricked you. So. But not really. Maybe. Vengeance against the Moas. Anyway. Whoa. Any special dojo frames customization like colors? I don't think that's more of a dojo art question with
Yeah,
art
that's
and team.
not-
You guys
unfortunately
don't
not
paint
our-
the walls, you just put up the rest.
Basically.
All right. And then there's buff indicators. We talked about that at the beginning of the stream. Is there any chance that the target reticle can turn green when you're targeting a friendly? Again, that's a
Yeah, we
Granular.
actually went away sort of from the color. Like at some point it works, so you point at an enemy, it would go red. Right now it just goes right after you actually hit him.
right.
It is one of those maybe things.
Are you ever making an FPS view of the game? Asks Clyde543.
That's not us.
No.
Yeah, I forgot. No, that's a no.
That's you're saying no. So if Steve yells at you for something else, he
We're not doing that.
Here you go.
Okay,
Pablo. Destroy your
I feel
world.
down on this one.
That's fine. All right. So I think that will conclude our stream for this lovely Friday. We're sport report before we
Yeah.
go.
Canada, 1-0.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time.
you.
I hope you guys enjoyed stream questions, all things UI. Keep up the good work. Lots to come down the pipeline from the UI. So thank you for joining us. And viewers, thank you for joining us. We have our 24-hour Oracle Catalyst coming around 3:30 maybe after the stream, usually around that time. And we'll see you in 2 weeks with our next dev stream and next week with Prime Time. And see you around.
See ya.
Thanks for watching. Thanks, Dean, Warren, Megan, moderators, everyone. And thanks for playing Hockey Canada.
Oh.